Hey, what's going on? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, and today we're going to talk about neck pickups in Teles and Strats, the difference between the two, why they sound different, and all the stuff that goes into it. Now, this kind of probably sounds like 2 or 3 other videos that we just did, but that's because we've been going one by one through kind of the different aspects between a difference of a Tele and a Strat. So the bridge pickups, for example, was the first video, and then actually like the construction of the bridges and how all that stuff works. And now we're going to talk about the neck pickups. So as we know, in a Strat, all the pickups are the same size, at least traditionally they are. And a Tele has a different pickup in the neck versus the bridge. This kind of goes all the way back to Leo Fender when he built the guitar in the first place. And you got to remember, so this is an interesting thing. Teles came before Strats, obviously. But if you'll recall, the bridge pickup of a Tele was kind of like a reworked lap steel, and it didn't have a neck pickup in it. It didn't have a neck pickup in it at all, and they actually developed it afterwards to put in the guitar. I got to actually, and if I can find the picture, I'll put it up here. I got to actually play at one time the very first Telecaster ever made. It was like prototype 0.0007, I think, or 4 or 7. I can't remember, really, really old. And what they did was they experimented with paint colors and they experimented with the neck pickup. And if you'll see in the picture, if I can find it, I'll put it up here. It didn't have a cover on it. It was just a miniature version kind of one of these, basically. So what I'm getting at here is it didn't even mean to have a neck pickup in it. They put one in it later. When we get to the Strat, all the pickups are the same. So the neck, the bridge, and the middle are all the same. Because Leo Fender was trying to build everything down to a price, whether you as a Fender guru or not want to admit it, he was trying to build everything to a price. He was trying to make everything replaceable. He was trying to make everything exactly the same, right? So Strat pickups, neck, middle, bridge, all the same. Jazzmaster pickups, neck, middle, bridge, all the same. Jaguar pickups, all the same. Precision bass, jazz bass, everything. Jazz bass has a little length difference as they got newer, but in the beginning, everything was exactly the same from all the positions, except in the Tele because it was the first one. So if you look at this Strat pickup, we'll take the Tele neck pickup cover, and you'll see it fits all the way inside there. Smaller, a lot smaller. The result of this difference in size is that a lot of people say that the neck pickup on a Tele is a little bit flatter sounding, a little muddier, not as many highs. So why is that? If we look at the physical size difference between the two, and here I've got 2 base plates here. I'm going to show you a couple things. One, the base plate of the Tele is a lot smaller than the Strat. Okay, now here's the top plate. Same thing. It's a lot smaller. And what that requires us to do, if we were to wind them exactly the same. Now don't jump through the comments and be like, yeah, but they weren't wound the same. The thing is that if you go through the 60s, the 50s and 60s, and you look at all this stuff, there isn't really, I'm not going to say there isn't a rhyme or a reason, but basically every year, I mean, you could pick random pickups out of any year of any time, and they would have a little bit different windings on them. But if you were to put 7,800 winds on a Strat neck pickup or 7,800 winds on a Tele neck pickup, and you use the same wire as you do on a Strat, it wouldn't fit on a Tele. It'd be too big. It'd be too fat. So a Tele neck pickup has 43 gauge wire. It's a lot smaller, it's a lot thinner. And as a result of it being thinner, the resistance per foot of the wire is thinner. And so that means the tone of the pickup is going to be completely different. So even if the magnets are more or less the same diameter, more or less the same, the magnets are more or less the same height, they can be anyway. If the coil wire is different, it's going to completely change the tone. When you go higher resistance per foot on your magnet wire, it's going to shave highs out of the pickup if you wound it exactly the same amount of winds as a Strat pickup. That's all super confusing and weird to say, but basically, if you were to make 2 pickups exactly the same with 2 different wires, the Tele pickup would be muddier. That's why many builders of pickups these days, such as, even myself, our flat 6 pickups at DylanTalksTone.com, we wind them a little bit different so that we can get some of those highs back in there, because it kind of solves that problem. It's only a problem because the bridge and the neck pickup were designed at 2 different times and for 2 different reasons for the Telecaster pickup. As they quote unquote improved the guitar, or maybe wrecked it by some people's standards, and they made them a Strat and they made them all the same size, then it obviously changed the sound. Now, as they went through time, they also used a different style of wire. So a 43 plain enamel versus a 42 heavy form var. So the thickness of the insulation on the wire is different on these 2 pickups as well. So the diameter as well as the thickness of the insulation in most cases, because again, you had to fit a lot of wire on this tiny little pickup by comparison. If you want to understand the difference between all of the wires and what all that means, we'll put one of those links up here because we just did a video a few weeks ago about that, or maybe it's in the comments. I'll put it either place. That way you can understand the difference, why pickups sound different when you use like a 42 plain enamel or a 42 heavy form var or a 43 plain enamel. Okay, so you'll get specifically and really dive deep and go super nerdy about the actual wire itself. But the bottom line is the construction of these pickups, even though they look almost the same with the covers off, they're totally different. Totally different materials, totally different dimensions and everything. Physical dimension, smaller, and actually the Tele pickup is a little bit taller. The Strat pickup is a little bit shorter, and if you recall, when it's completed, the magnets stick out the top of a Strat pickup. They don't stick out the top of a Tele pickup. In fact, they kind of stick out the bottom. So that leads us to the cover situation. A lot of people wonder why, if the cover makes a huge difference in the tone. Theoretically and mathematically, you can introduce different, what they call eddy currents, we have a video about that too, into the Tele pickup by putting a cover on it. Does it make a huge difference having the cover on versus off? Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. If you have tried it both ways, put it in the comments below and let me know what you think. Personally, it depends. What we've done here at Dylan Talks Tone is we've wound the pickup in such a way to where it makes less of a difference, so that you still have those highs and you have all that stuff and it all works and the guitar sounds good and you don't have that muffy sound. Although, if you take the pickup off, some say that it makes a difference. So, again, I leave that up to you to form your opinion on, but I'm just trying to give you the physical differences between these two and the reasons why it's all different. Physical dimension makes a huge difference in a pickup. Massive, massive difference. In fact, in our next video, we're going to talk about, in fact, I've got the stuff here. We're going to talk about, here, I'll show you, the difference between, for example, a Jazzmaster pickup and a P90. Why is that different? We're also going to talk about the difference between what this metal plate does on the bottom of a Jaguar. So all of these little things, all of these little dimensions make a big, big difference in tones of pickups. And so you would first of all think, well, the Tele neck pickup looks kind of the same as a Strat, but when you really dive into it, the construction is totally different. If you have a question about any of this stuff, put it in the comments below. If this brings up a new question or from some other videos you've been watching, you're like, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right, this doesn't make sense, put it in the comments and maybe we'll make a video to answer that question. Thanks for hanging out. If you're new to this channel, we have like 500 of these videos and we make a video usually twice a week. So hit the button, the subscribe button and the little bell next to it. That way you know the next time we make a video. And thanks for hanging out and we'll talk to you soon.